If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of new videos.
Hi, Tonys. I'm so excited.
Your show is JaMonkey?
Yes, JaMonkey. That is my daughter's nickname, actually. But I'm
Hey.
excited because I'm a 90s kid at heart. So you have animated some of my favorite characters of all time, and now you're working on Space Jam, and it's like I'm a little starstruck. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm really excited that you're here. So I wanted to start off by asking, what is it that drew you to Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs?
I have a friend that worked on it, and I hadn't heard anything about the movie, the story. I didn't know it was in production. It was produced in South Korea, so very far away from me. But it wasn't until I took a little trip out to Seoul and ended up visiting and having lunch with a friend of mine that used to work at Disney. He was a character designer on Red Shoes and introduced me to the crew and invited me over to the studio, pitched the story to me. I met the directors and producers, and I was like, this is everything that I want to be a part of. I love these kind of movies. It's kind of a play on a fairy tale, but it's also really kind of spins it on its ear a little bit, and it's comedy, and it's got a lot of heart to it. I love the message. And so I basically told them, if there's any way I can help you, please let me know. And they came back to me luckily and said, we need a voice director, somebody that's, out in LA that can record all of our big Hollywood name actors. And I'm like, please, I would love to help. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so tell me what it's like voice directing for a villain, kind of like Regina, the Evil Queen.
Well, it's kind of the same as getting any of them in a lot of ways, except for, my job is to really get the actor in the headspace. And also in the beginning, we're kind of trying to find the voice of the character. So the very first session that we have with the actors, and we're always in person. That's the best way to do it. So it's all pre-COVID when we were actually meeting up together in the recording studios. And to be able to get that performance and find that voice is kind of job number one. And then from there, it's really about coaching the actors, and so they know what's going on, what's the tone, where are they at physically, are they in a space that they have to react to, is it a fight scene and they're getting punched, or all those kind of very small delicate details have to be really iterated to them and explained to them so that they can get in the right place and deliver the wonderful performance they do.
Yeah, so talk to me about what it's like coming from an animator's perspective in a role which generally involves animating already recorded tracks and then moving to kind of like the flip side of that, of voice directing those scenes before the animation process.
So it is kind of an interesting process. Animation is so much different than live action. We start writing and scripting first, which is like live action, and then but the recordings of the voices have to come very early before we get into the animation phase. So I'm particularly busy in the very first 6 months of pre-production on the film, recording all the actors, flying out to wherever they are, because that's part of it too, and coordinating schedules. And then once we capture that voice recording, then it can go on to the animators. They develop the scenes. I was an animator. That's how I started. So I love what an animator can bring to a voice, because you can't imagine. I mean, if you have a voice actor that really does a great job and presents a character, there's always a bit of well, that could be played this way or it could play that way, and visually you can really sway the performance, even with just an eye roll, or if it's said with a smile or a frown, it really sends that in a different direction. So I love what animation can bring. It's really 50% animation and 50% vocal recording that really makes 100% of the character.
Yeah, and you actually just touched on something that I am curious about also. So nowadays, a lot of the animation takes into effect the actor's facial features. They'll actually record them in sessions now, and even sometimes do the dots and the CGI to get those played out. So was this something that you guys used to do back in the 90s when you were doing movies like The Rescuers and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and stuff like that? Was that something that they tried to do back then?
Like kind of like in a very old school way. What we would do is we basically just record them in front of a microphone, but turn on a video camera and videotape their performance. But you know, it's really, and then later as an animator, we'd watch it, and you know, there might be little facial expressions or gestures that you can get. But I mean, let's face it, the actors in front of a microphone, they have to stay within a certain distance of the microphone. They can't move their head around very much, or even put their hands up, because they usually have jewelry on and it'll make a noise. So we're not getting most of the performances coming from the actors, especially in the 90s. And what you're talking about is definitely more like Avatar and things like that, where they are at a stage now where they're trying to get more of the actor into the CG performance. But I'm definitely a fan of kind of the animator playing out that role a little bit more, and delivering that visual performance himself, because then you get more investment from the animator. They're putting some of themselves into the performance also.
Yeah. All right, so they just informed me that this is my last question, so I'm dying to know, who is your favorite character of all time who you've animated?
Oh gosh. I mean,
I'll probably have to go with Pumbaa, because Pumbaa was one of my first big character roles that I got at Disney. I love the warthog. The flatulence, not my idea, but I played into that,
Right.
certainly. But I love the Hakuna Matata lifestyle that Pumbaa represents. So probably, yeah, probably the
Awesome.
big.
Yes, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
yeah.
Thank you, Megan. It's really nice meeting with you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.